CHiPs, 1977 to 1983, was a hit TV show that followed the high-speed adventures of California Highway Patrol officers, winning over audiences with its action, drama, and unforgettable characters. But behind the scenes, time has taken its toll, and many of the actors who brought the show to life have sadly passed away, some under tragic circumstances. From beloved main cast members to memorable guest stars, their legacies live on. In this tribute, we remember 37 CHiPs actors who have tragically died, honoring their contributions to one of the most iconic police dramas of the era. Clarence Gilyard Jr. portrayed Officer Benjamin Webster in CHiPs in 1982 at the age of 27. Webster was a calm, dedicated motorcycle officer, known for his poise under pressure. Gilyard's career flourished with roles that showcased his talent, including appearances in Die Hard and Walker, Texas Ranger. However, his life was marked by deep tragedy. Clarence's personal life saw a series of difficult relationships, his first marriage ending in divorce, and the second one fraught with tension. He fathered children, but his emotional struggles often overshadowed his family life. His own battle with health issues became a dark chapter in his life, facing several chronic conditions in later years, leaving him disconnected from his previous successes. The tragedy struck deeper as he was diagnosed with a long illness, possibly linked to his lifestyle, and fought hard for survival until he passed away on November 28, 2022, at the age of 66.
Come on.
Minorities. They're very complex, Sarge.
William Smith portrayed Michael Adams in CHiPs in 1980 at the age of 47. Adams was the tough, no-nonsense officer, characterized by his strength and resolve. But for Smith, life was far from resolute. His career, though extensive, was overshadowed by personal demons. His marriages were filled with deep dissatisfaction, each one crumbling under the weight of his inability to find lasting happiness. His personal tragedy continued with the estrangement from his children, a deep sorrow that permeated his every achievement. As he aged, his health declined sharply, with Smith enduring chronic pain from an old injury that worsened over time. Despite his incredible physicality on screen, his off-screen life was a struggle for survival, emotionally and physically. He passed away on July 5, 2021, at the age of 88, due to complications from various health conditions, including the long-term consequences of his injuries, which added a tragic layer to an already painful existence.
For once in your life, baby, play it smart. Turn her loose. You didn't grab her, he did. The law can't do a thing to you.
You're pressing the flesh.
Johnny Seven took on the role of Dawson in CHiPs in 1978 when he was 52 years old. Dawson was the epitome of the seasoned cop, a reliable figure often seen giving advice to the younger officers, a symbol of wisdom and experience. However, Seven's personal life was far from the role he played on screen. Behind the camera, his life was full of heartache and isolation. His marriages were turbulent, and his relationships with his children were strained. Despite his career's successes, the late years brought depression, a sense of fading relevance, and regret. As his health began to deteriorate due to smoking, his life became dominated by the fear of what would come next. He passed away on January 22, 2010, at the age of 83. His cause of death, lung cancer, a tragic consequence of years of smoking, was a painful end for a man who had once been a staple in television.
Mr. Sanders, if the percentages weren't with us, we'd go out.
Warren Berlinger, who played Bickle in CHiPs, started his role in 1978 at the age of 41. Bickle was the comic relief on the show, a cheerful officer always ready with a smile. But Berlinger's own life was a tragic contrast to the character he played. His career, which seemed so promising, faltered as he found himself unable to maintain the public persona of happiness he portrayed on screen. Berlinger's personal life was a series of emotional wounds, marked by failed relationships and the toll of a life filled with constant stress. He had children, but the rift between him and his family grew wider as the years passed. In his later years, Berlinger became reclusive, battling depression that he struggled to hide. His death, caused by cancer, was the tragic end to a man whose outward joy hid a deep, unhealed sorrow. He passed away on December 2, 2020, at the age of 83.
All right, you boys better behave, huh? What? Oh. Okay.
Royce D. Applegate played Roger Brown in CHiPs starting in 1981 at the age of 42. Brown was a dependable officer, a symbol of hard work and camaraderie, but Applegate's personal life was anything but stable. His career was marred by financial instability, leading to his struggles with addiction and strained relationships with those closest to him. His marriages failed, leaving him alone with his demons. Applegate's family was fractured, with an inability to rebuild the trust he had lost. Despite his professional success, his personal life was filled with dark moments, leading to an early decline in health. The ultimate tragedy came when he died in a house fire on January 1, 2003, at the age of 63. The cause of death was ruled as an accidental fire, but the emotional devastation left in the wake of his passing was felt by those who had witnessed his decline.
What makes you think there's any money down there anyway?
Him. Digging.
Jim Brown, who began playing Romo in CHiPs in 1979 at the age of 43, portrayed a strong, commanding officer with a sense of authority that was admired by his peers. However, off-screen, Jim's life was far from as smooth as his role suggested. His fame as an NFL star was shadowed by a turbulent personal life. Despite his accomplishments, Brown's marriages were filled with turmoil, marked by allegations of violence and emotional strain. His troubled relationships and growing isolation, coupled with the weight of his own unresolved issues, led to personal despair. As he aged, the physical toll of his past and the emotional scars of his failures weighed heavily on him. Brown's later years were marked by an ongoing internal struggle, and despite his public success, he remained a man who never fully reconciled with his personal demons. Jim passed away on May 18, 2023, at the age of 87 from natural causes.
Wipe off your fingerprints, wrap them in a scrap paper, and throw them in a closed-top trash can.
Okay, Lee.
Danny Wells, who played Gordy in CHiPs starting in 1979 at the age of 38, was known for his lively, humorous approach to his role, often bringing lightness to tense situations. However, Danny's personal life was far from as cheerful. His marriages, both of which ended in divorce, were marred by infidelity, neglect, and emotional turbulence. As his professional career slowed down, his personal challenges only intensified. The weight of his failed relationships, combined with mounting financial problems, took a significant toll on Danny's well-being. His inner struggles, however, were often hidden behind his public persona as a jovial and quick-witted actor. As Danny aged, his health began to deteriorate, and he was diagnosed with cancer in the later years of his life. Despite the humor he portrayed on screen, Danny's life was marked by deep sadness and loneliness. He passed away on November 28, 2013, at the age of 72 from cancer.
You know, that restaurant makes a big fat bank deposit.
Michael Baseleon, who portrayed Mesker in CHiPs starting in 1979 at the age of 54, brought a steady and methodical presence to his role as a law enforcement officer. His character's attention to detail was a reflection of his own disciplined nature, but behind the camera, Baseleon's life was less orderly. His marriage ended in an acrimonious divorce, leaving him estranged from his children and emotionally isolated. The pressure of his professional and personal life compounded as he struggled with depression, financial instability, and a sense of hopelessness. His quest for perfection led to further emotional distance, and his relationships became strained beyond repair. As the years went by, Baseleon became a shadow of the person he once was, caught in a cycle of emotional exhaustion. His death on October 9, 1986, at the age of 61 from a heart attack was a tragic outcome of the deep personal turmoil that had plagued him for years.
You understand, Mr. Myers? I couldn't be caught buying none of this stuff.
You know which truck to set the torch to?
Oh, yeah. They're loading tonight. She picks up the load at 10.
Cindy Morgan, who portrayed Jennifer in CHiPs starting in 1981 at the age of 27, was known for her smart and resourceful portrayal of a character who assisted the officers in solving cases. Yet, Cindy's personal life was full of complications. She had been married once, but the relationship ended in divorce, leaving her with emotional scars that lingered for years. The loneliness that followed her failed marriage seemed to define her later years. Despite her success on screen, Cindy struggled to find happiness and fulfillment in her personal life. Her health also began to decline as she grew older, leading to increasing isolation. She distanced herself from the public eye, often retreating into seclusion, battling the emotional weight of past heartbreaks and a sense of unfulfilled potential. Cindy passed away on December 30, 2023, at the age of 69 from natural causes.
Don't you?
Oh, yeah. Thanks a lot.
We're gonna have to take my car in for all the official accoutrements.
What does that mean?
I'm a detective, Munch, not a dictionary.
William Boyett, who portrayed the dependable Rhodes on CHiPs starting in 1980 at the age of 53, was known for his steady and wise presence, but his personal life was marked by significant hardship. After the death of his wife, Boyett was left devastated, and he struggled with the grief that consumed him. The emotional toll of losing his partner weighed heavily on him, and his career began to suffer as a result. Boyett faced a series of personal and professional setbacks, which compounded the sadness that dominated his later years. As his health began to deteriorate, he was hospitalized for pneumonia and kidney failure, further highlighting the struggles he faced in his final years. Boyett passed away on December 29, 2004, at 77, leaving behind a career that had been defined by wisdom and dependability but ultimately overshadowed by deep personal sorrow and the weight of illness.
It's nothing really unusual. Just a case of sentiment adjustment.
What would you call that?
Andrew Duggan, who played the commanding Jetson stamp in CHiPs starting in 1979 at the age of 56, was widely respected for his authoritative presence on screen. Yet, his personal life was marred by significant hardships. Duggan endured 2 failed marriages, both of which left him emotionally scarred, and his attempts at finding happiness in his personal life were often met with failure. Though his career was successful, with numerous roles in both film and television, Duggan faced financial struggles in his later years and found it difficult to maintain the same level of fame he once enjoyed. In the final chapter of his life, Duggan battled cancer, a painful and private ordeal that left him weakened. He passed away on May 15, 1988, at the age of 64, from cancer. His death marked the end of a career that was distinguished by his powerful presence, yet overshadowed by the private struggles and personal losses that defined his life.
Ladies, you. Man could make a fortune just collecting what got thrown away. Poor man's fortune. All for the taking.
Larry Storch, who brought humor to his role as Franco on CHiPs starting in 1979 at the age of 56, was beloved for his wit and comedic timing. However, his personal life was anything but comedic. Storch went through 2 divorces, both of which caused him significant emotional pain, and he struggled with feelings of isolation in his later years. While his career remained active for a long time, Storch faced the inevitable decline that comes with aging in the entertainment industry. As he grew older, his health deteriorated, and he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, which gradually robbed him of his memory and independence. Despite his humorous on-screen persona, Storch spent his final years grappling with the devastating effects of dementia. He passed away on July 8, 2022, at 99, after a long battle with Alzheimer's. His death marked the loss of a beloved figure, but it also underscored the tragic reality of a life that had been consumed by the slow erosion of memory and identity.
Franco? Hey, my neck! Look! My neck! It's fine! I'm cured! I'm cured! Don't listen to him! He's nuttier than a fruitcake!
Brion James, who portrayed Billy Joe Ackerman on CHiPs starting in 1979 at age 34, was known for his tough, no-nonsense characters. Ackerman, the rugged officer, was often in the thick of action, reflecting the intense roles James played in his career. However, his off-screen life was far more tumultuous. James struggled with substance abuse, and his addiction deeply affected his relationships, including 2 failed marriages. He had children, but his personal demons made it difficult for him to maintain a connection with them. Despite his career in films like Blade Runner and The Terminator, James' personal life remained in chaos, filled with the same kind of struggle and conflict he portrayed on screen. His health deteriorated over time, culminating in a heart attack that claimed his life on August 7, 1999, at age 54. His death was a tragic end to a life where the battles fought off-screen were often as brutal as those he faced in his roles.
Oh, Ted, listen, I want you to meet Monk Adler. Monk, Ted Brady. Hi. Monk is my powder man. Powder man? Yeah.
Simon Oakland, who joined CHiPs in 1979 at age 64, portrayed Bruno, a tough and intimidating officer with a commanding presence. Bruno's no-nonsense attitude on screen stood in stark contrast to Oakland's own struggles in real life. Despite his success in television and film, Oakland's personal life was fraught with emotional distress, including multiple failed marriages. His relationships with his children were strained, and he was often seen as distant and unapproachable by those closest to him. His health, too, began to decline, and in the early 1980s, he was diagnosed with colon cancer. As his body weakened, so did his spirit, and he faced the final stages of his life alone. Oakland's death on August 29, 1983, at age 68, was the result of complications from cancer, marking the end of a career defined by strength, but a life overshadowed by personal battles and isolation.
She took a skid at turn 8. Now you tell her to watch it. We had to rebuild that car overnight. She puts another vent in it.
Peter Marshall, known for playing himself on CHiPs from 1979 at age 53, brought warmth and humor to the series. His real-life charm made him a fan favorite, and his presence on screen was marked by his ability to inject lightheartedness into any situation. However, his personal life was far more complex. Marshall endured a series of failed marriages, and his emotional struggles took a toll on his family. Despite his success in show business, he often felt isolated and lonely, and his personal relationships never quite flourished. His health began to deteriorate as he aged, and in 2024, after battling kidney failure for years, Marshall passed away on August 15 at age 98. His death, though it came after a long and full life, was a somber reminder of the personal struggles that often went unnoticed by the public, even as he brought joy and humor to millions.
Hey kid, I'm not talking gold record. I'm not talking platinum record. This is zirconian, you know. They're going to have to make up a new precious metal just for you.
Well, forget it!
Ken Barry, who played Kelly on CHiPs from 1980 at age 47, was beloved for his portrayal of a warm and approachable character. His on-screen persona as the kind, understanding officer was a stark contrast to the struggles in his own life. Barry's first marriage ended in a painful divorce, and though he remarried later, his second marriage also faced challenges. His personal life was marked by emotional ups and downs, and despite his public image as a friendly and likable person, he often felt lonely and disconnected. As he aged, his health began to decline, and he battled a series of health issues, compounded by the emotional strain of his past relationships. On December 1, 2018, Barry passed away at age 85 after a prolonged health decline. His death was the end of a career that brought warmth and joy to many, but also highlighted the personal battles and emotional isolation that marked his later years.
$1,500 tomorrow. Everything we got is tied up in this cycle.
Bill Daly, who portrayed Balford in CHiPs beginning in 1979 at the age of 52, brought light and laughter to the show with his character's humorous, easygoing nature. Balford's comic relief and affable persona helped ease the tension in a show filled with drama and high stakes. Yet, Bill's real life was filled with its own, often painful, struggles. Though known for his charm, Bill's personal life was marked by multiple failed marriages. His first marriage, which had seemed full of hope, ended in heartbreak, leaving him emotionally scarred. Despite his career success, he battled loneliness and a profound sense of disillusionment, unable to fully recover from the emotional toll of his divorces. The void left by his fractured relationships only deepened over the years. Bill's later life was filled with a haunting sense of regret, and his comedic persona was often a mask to conceal the sadness and unfulfilled dreams he harbored. Bill Daly passed away on September 4, 2018, at the age of 91 from natural causes.
I mean, it's just like we were nothing, right?
Well, you got good eyes.
Look, it's been Jimmy and me from the day one. If I said he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it, okay? Okay.
Burr DeBenning, who portrayed Bill Ross in CHiPs starting in 1978 at the age of 42, embodied the role of a meticulous and diligent officer known for his unwavering commitment to duty. Bill Ross was often seen as the reliable, no-nonsense character, focused on details and ensuring everything was in its proper place. However, behind the scenes, Burr DeBenning's life was anything but orderly. His career, though steady, was marred by personal challenges that weighed heavily on him. His marriage, a union that had initially seemed promising, deteriorated over time due to his growing emotional isolation and an inability to connect with his family. His battle with alcoholism escalated in his later years, further estranging him from those closest to him. Burr found himself in a downward spiral, consumed by regret and self-doubt, overshadowing his otherwise respectable career. On May 26, 2003, at the age of 66, Burr passed away under undisclosed circumstances.
The stakeout beginning at 3 p.m.
And there's something that you could do.
Name it, Bill.
Drive by there.
If you see your car on the premises, give me a call. It'll help.
Don Galloway, who began his role as Steve in CHiPs in 1980 at the age of 43, portrayed a reliable, experienced officer, a mentor to his younger colleagues, always offering wisdom and support. Steve was the epitome of dependability, but Don's real-life story was less about stability and more about struggle. His career, although respected, was peppered with personal turmoil. Galloway faced multiple failed relationships throughout his life, with each breakup compounding the sense of failure that began to overshadow his professional achievements. His marriages fell apart, with his emotional detachment becoming a recurring theme that left his family life in shambles. These struggles were mirrored by his internal battles, including bouts of depression that haunted him throughout his life. Don's later years were filled with health problems, as his emotional pain began to manifest physically. On January 8, 2009, at the age of 71, Don Galloway died from a stroke.
I'm a big fan of yours.
Yeah, the feeling's mutual. I'm sorry. You guys have a tough job.
Anna Navarro, who portrayed Maria Poncherello in CHiPs starting in 1979 at the age of 46, portrayed a nurturing and caring character, someone whose strong family values and kind-hearted nature made her an integral part of the show. Maria was the comforting presence, the one who held everything together, but Anna's own life behind the camera was far from the warmth she projected on screen. Anna's personal life was marred by emotional pain and disappointment. Her marriage was strained from the start, with her husband's infidelity casting a long shadow over their relationship. Despite attempts to keep her family together for the sake of her children, Anna's own emotional well-being deteriorated. The cracks in her marriage only deepened, leading to a painful divorce that left her heartbroken and isolated. Anna's struggles with loneliness and feelings of inadequacy compounded over the years. On December 27, 2006, at the age of 73, Anna passed away under undisclosed circumstances.
Did it come like this?
Comfy, isn't it?
Larry Linville, known for his portrayal of the rigid and often antagonistic Carlin on CHiPs starting in 1979 at the age of 40, was marked by a career that reflected a fierce commitment to his roles but was overshadowed by personal misfortunes. Carlin was known for his stern demeanor and his constant clashes with other characters, which mirrored some of the tensions in Linville's own life. While his acting career had its high points, Linville's personal life was riddled with difficulties. He experienced several failed marriages, the most painful being the one to his second wife, which ended in a highly publicized divorce. His search for happiness outside of his work remained unfulfilled, and in his later years, he became reclusive. In 2000, he was diagnosed with cancer, which began to affect his health severely. His death from pneumonia, a complication of his battle with cancer, came on April 10, 2000, at the age of 60, marking the end of a career that was full of potential.
I thought by now your neck would be feeling a little bit better. Oh, yeah? Well, I got only half the settlement I deserved. It only took us a couple of weeks to spend it, remember? I'm sorry
Steve Franken, who played the clever and quick-witted Alan Drummond on CHiPs starting in 1978 at the age of 46, was admired for his intelligence and ability to solve complex problems. Off-screen, however, Franken's life was plagued by a series of personal struggles. His marriage, once full of promise, deteriorated over the years, eventually ending in a bitter divorce that left him emotionally and financially drained. Despite his sharp mind, he struggled with feelings of inadequacy and loneliness, and his career, though notable, was often marked by periods of unemployment and financial instability. In his later years, Franken faced health issues, and he was diagnosed with cancer, a disease that would claim his life. He passed away on August 24, 2012, at the age of 80. His death from cancer was the culmination of a life that, despite his success in the entertainment industry, was marred by personal loss, emotional turmoil, and health struggles.
Right. The freeway. You know, I never thought I'd make it.
That was the opinion of the driving school, but we showed him.
Yeah.
Kaye Stevens, who played the woman in Phone Booth in CHiPs in 1978 at the age of 46, had a promising career but one that was cut short by personal struggles and health issues. Despite her early success, Stevens' life was plagued by a string of failed relationships and emotional turmoil. Her marriage ended in divorce, and despite her undeniable talent, she never found the lasting love and stability she sought. In the face of industry pressures, Stevens' career slowed significantly in her later years, and she often found herself fighting to regain her footing in a world that seemed to forget her. Her health declined as she was diagnosed with breast cancer, a battle that she fought quietly. Stevens passed away on December 28, 2011, at 79, after complications from cancer and blood clots. Her death was a tragic end to a career that had so much potential but was ultimately overshadowed by her personal and health-related challenges. Madlyn Rhue, who appeared on CHiPs starting in 1979 at age 44, was known for her elegance and depth in her performances. Her characters often carried emotional complexity, but in real life, Rhue's own struggles were just as complex. She went through several failed marriages, and her relationships with her children were difficult and strained. In addition to these personal challenges, Rhue was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, a condition that severely impacted her mobility and quality of life. Despite her health struggles, she continued to act, but her condition made it increasingly difficult for her to maintain her career. Madlyn Rhue passed away on December 16, 2003, at the age of 68 from pneumonia, following years of battling both the debilitating effects of multiple sclerosis and the emotional toll of her personal difficulties. Her death marked the end of a career and life filled with challenges that were rarely seen by the public. Who is your favorite character in CHiPs? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.